This is Season 2, Episode 23 of my Modular Journey, and today is the actual series conclusion of what I've been calling my Modular Journey, which started 1 year ago today on September 22nd, 2021. We're ending today because it's been a year and it sounds cool, plus it's my birthday, so why not? Happy birthday to me. A year ago, on September 22nd, I uploaded the first 7 videos called My Modular Journey to YouTube because my brother told me the content I created for myself was exactly what YouTube viewers craved. I did not believe him because I've not had much luck with the internet since its inception. And as far as my unsuccessful music career, that has been the last 20 years anyway. But he's usually right about these things, so I uploaded and let them sit. Within a few days, dozens of viewers hit my channel, gobbling up these video diaries I was making. Not only were viewers interested in these postings, but they actually started subscribing to Vision's music group to be alerted when something new was released. That was mind-blowing and very unexpected. Views, likes, and subscribers have never been a motivator for me, at least not initially. Not one part of this journey was designed to that end. I am surprised and very humbled that anyone finds this content interesting. But in retrospect, that's the entire reason I recorded them in the first place. This is the info I could not find when I went looking for answers. An example, my Monsoon granular processor video has well over 3,000 views with 42,000 impressions since it was published on December 7th, 2021. Holy smokes, 24% of those viewers came from Modular Grid. Which was also a surprise. My stuff is not only showing up on the YouTube searches and suggestions, but other sites are pulling me into their lists as well. So that's pretty cool. Let me tell you why this is so exciting for me, as small as this channel really is. By comparison, my most watched live performance video from 2013 has a whopping 420 views across a 10-year span. A single My Modular Journey video gets that much in a month, most times. So it's clear to me what the viewers want to see, not me singing, but me talking about expensive boutique modules. While the views, likes, and subscribers is still not a major motivator, it has been a rush, and I do hope it continues when the other stuff starts appearing on this channel that is not modular, but we'll talk about that later. Over the last year, there's a few things I've noticed as a newbie to modular. The biggest one being, modular is really taking off. I mean, it has been for some time, but in 2022, and everywhere I look, modular is there. It's very niche, but at the same time, it's this global force. It's kind of sweeping the world, and it's wonderful. These total strangers I mentioned before are looking for the same thing I was looking for. Why should I buy this thing, and how will I use it? As I purchased piece after piece and started learning more and more, and then churning out video after video, I found something I had lost 20 years ago. A passion, excitement, a genuine love for music, sound design, or exploration. By June of 2021, I sat in a room full of expensive music equipment and did exactly nothing with it. For years, hell, decades. It wasn't that I hated music, I just felt, blocked. Like I couldn't create anymore. So out of desperation, I went looking for something new, and I found it in generative music and modular, and this amazing community of modular enthusiasts that are all genuinely kind and helpful to one another, and well, I got excited. In doing modular, I have reignited a love of music in general, and have spent more time in the studio with that pile of expensive equipment making music than I have in the last 20 years. Modular woke something in me, and I'm very excited about that. Taking a look back at the last 2 seasons, starting 1 year ago today, remember when I said this? I'm just going to start pushing a little bit more sound out there and a lot less talking. This season will focus more on sound design, generative music, patching, and sonic experiments as I continue to learn about modular synthesis. Also, hopefully, less talking and more music. I promised less talking, and all I did was talk. I've tried to show off these modules standalone, meaning not in a huge mix of other things, so you can get an idea what the specific module can do. In some cases, it was hard to demonstrate the module alone, so in many of these videos you see, for example, an oscillator that has, at a minimum, a gated VCA, or effects. or driven by a sequencer. I do not look at modules by their brand name. I approach them from their functionality. During my modular journey, it was necessary to film "this is module A," but when it comes to making noise, I choose the VCF that makes the most sense for the current project. Case in point, Belgrade is a beast of a VCF. It makes totally different noises than, say, a Cinnamon. This does not mean one is better than the other, it means they're different and have different uses. Cinematic Laboratory had a video recently, "Modular should never feel like work." Every single pop rock song I have recorded with synths, guitars, drums, vocals was a hell of a lot of work. Days and days, sometimes weeks to get things right. Sometimes months, maybe even decades. With Modular, I literally plug two things together and something magical happens. He's right, Cinematic Laboratory. If you're sat in front of your Modular, crippled with where to start, or seeing the end before you begin, that may be the wrong approach. Modular is a sonic journey, one that is discovered as you walk the path. If you want a predetermined outcome, buy a Hydrasynth, which, by the way, I just did. As you see by the wall of equipment before you, I have purchased a lot of stuff. I have maybe 80 modules. And it was no surprise from day one that I might find something that I didn't like. However, out of all of the stuff you see before you, I've only disliked maybe 5 or 6 modules. So that in itself is the actual surprise. I kind of expected a 50% attrition, but instead, there's nothing I have that I want to let go of. As far as the ones that did not make the cut, I'm going to do a separate video on these, but for a quick rundown, the Quadigy quad envelope generator, it was just too hard to use and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. I spent months trying to get results out of it, but me personally, I could not wrap my head around it, so it has gone to a better home. The Endorphins gear, yeah, we're just not even going to talk about that here. Super disappointed there, and honestly the first modular gear to actually generate buyer's remorse. The Polyend Poly 2, I'm not sure what happened there. I think my 40 years in synthesizers and connecting everything together habits, I just assumed that I would simply integrate a modular rack into my normal studio workflow and play it like any other synth. That was very early in my journey when I had no idea, and I mean really no idea, what I was doing. While preparing for a Poly 2 redo video, I suddenly realized the Poly 2 was not doing what I had hoped. Not sure if I just couldn't grasp what it was doing, but there were sticky gates and ringing notes, and polyphony never worked for me via MIDI, so I sold it. I may come to regret that someday because Polyend has stopped making modules, so we'll see. And the saddest disappointment comes in the Instruo Looper, the Lubad. I absolutely loved everything about this module, and I was damn happy to get one used at a discount. However, once I developed my audio loops and started actually using it in patches, I found that it took more time to reload it after every single power-up due to a firmware bug as of 1.3. And I even helped Instruo troubleshoot it in January of 22. And here it is September of 22, and it has not yet been fixed, so I have not used it since December of 21. And it just sat there, so I sold it. That's not to say Looper was broken, it just wasn't doing what I needed it to do. And there is a firmware 2.0 coming eventually that the Instruo promised, so stay tuned for that. So why is my modular journey over, you might ask? I have spent 1 year now researching, selecting, buying, learning, trying, and being successful with my modular gear. And that's it. The acquisition period is over. It's time now to create. I will always be learning, but I'm hoping to continue learning as I create sounds moving forward. I also believe that I have covered all the main topics of modular, from VCOs, VCFs, VCAs, envelopes, FX, utilities, sequencers, and even racks and cases. This is why I feel like even if I purchase new stuff in 2023, there'll be no need for a My Modular Journey episode for each item beyond this conclusion, because I think everything's been talked about. New items will come, of course. Unless there's something entirely new, this is the end of my journey. New items in 2023 will be showcased in various performance videos to come. So if anything piques your interest, definitely let me know and I can make a video for it. So a quick example of things that might have come in that did not get their journey video, because they're kind of duplicates in a way. I did pick up another buffered malt from WD before they closed their doors. I picked up actually two more Ornament and Crime. There's one in the sequence rack over here. There's one here in the main rack, and I got, of course, the original one over here. My 2 HP Verb snapped in half, so I replaced it with, at least for now, I've replaced it with an FX Aid here, which is phenomenal little module over here, so that I have that, which also did not get its episode. Down here is a radio music, because I just thought that was so cool. So of course I did pick up a radio music, and then the Bifaco AC/DC, brand new. It's going to integrate into my DAW and give me some more direct outputs. A lot of interesting things coming up, trying to multi-track rather than shoving everything out a left and right only. So that's kind of the next experiment, and that's where I'm going to be doing sonic experiments or patches from scratch, trying to do 8 channels into my DAW directly, and then, well, 12 if you count these 4. So 12 channels directly into the DAW for sounds. One more, there's 2 more things. I did pick up an Allen from After Later Audio, but there's so much about that on the internet, I didn't bother doing a video on that, and this Temps Util, which is just a clock modifier, so. And that's it, I have, and the EME for Eloquencer. Okay, so I have about 10 more modules, but I'm not doing any more journeys. This series is over. As for the future, I am not abandoning modular anytime soon. It's just so darn fun and inspirational, I can't even put words to it. I absolutely love the random creativity that comes out of the machine itself, let alone when I start applying my own ideas to something, or simply jamming along with the modular. I am going to continue these modular videos on this channel in the form of a top and bottom 5 of my modular gear, which I'm finding is extremely hard to pick things that I really like and things that I don't like, because the things that I don't like are gone. Sonic Experiments is a series that I kind of kicked off with modular, but it kind of includes other things like software synths and some of my hardware stuff as I start exploring some of the new hardware that I'm getting. Patches from scratch is a thing I really love. I love filming while I'm building something. I think everybody loves a patch from scratch. I also would love to do live streams, but my balls are just not that big yet. I'm working on it though. Live streams of generative modular, or even jamming, just jamming along on all this gear I have. I would love to do that. Getting Deep is another series that I have. Right now it's just Monsoon, but there's a lot of other modules in the rack that probably could use a little bit more of a deep dive, specifically about things that are not already covered. Like Ornament and Crime is super deep, but there's a trillion videos about Ornament and Crime, so I don't have to go through and show you everything. However, there is not a video showing all the properties and all the parameters of the Peaked app, for instance, which is the thing I use Ornament and Crime the most for right now, is envelopes. And all of those settings that are in there, I think Synth Dad probably did a pretty good job of covering what they do. And I don't really want to duplicate that effort either, but I think I have my own spin on something like that, especially when it comes to how I use it. That's the kind of video I'm talking about for Getting Deep. Also, I feel a little bit more confident about my knowledge about modular, so I think going deeper into some of these modules would be advantageous. One note I do want to mention here is the Visions Music Group channel was always meant for a broader sense of music than just modular. But modular has been a gateway of sorts to getting me out of my rut and start creating again. There will be some non-modular content showing up here in the near future, such as live streams of concerts, both solo and with friends. I have hosted a jam fest here in Phoenix for 10 years, and all those videos are here on YouTube. They're also unlisted. It was just for us. However, I'm going to try to change that in the years to come. I have some studio projects like why so many synths? It's a question I get asked constantly. You only have 2 arms, why do you need so many pianos? I would love to do a studio tour, show how my stuff is set up and how I'm doing the thing. I'm very proud of my studio. It's not a treated room. It doesn't have glass and cedar walls and it doesn't smell like a hamster cage, but it is a beautiful room in my house to work in. and everything I do is in the box with the exception of my voice like this. But yes, I am very proud of my studio, so I would love to do a studio tour and show everybody all the gear that they can come steal. A new obsession that is coming up at the tail end of my modular journey is virtual instruments. I've always used virtual instruments. I've always had like the Arturia collection. I have a lot of Spitfire Audio stuff. I recently stumbled upon Cherry Audio and got a couple of their full packs of instruments. And then UVI, Falcon. Falcon fell off the Avid subscription, and as usual, Avid leaves us floundering on our own. I happen to love Falcon, and now I was without a license. So thankfully, the UVI people offered a $100 cross grade, so we didn't have to pay $400 for their instrument. And then they gave me an extra $100. So I not only bought Falcon literally for nothing, I bought one of their full instrument packs of all their classic synths. So I'm not kidding when I say I have hundreds of these virtual instruments. And I'm a super huge fan of Spitfire Audio. I do see a lot of videos, especially coming from Spitfire themselves, where they show you how to do things. Christian Henson does a really good job of demonstrating how to write music with their libraries, with things like expression and dynamics, and drawing those into MIDI and making a violin actually sound like a violinist. Again, a lot of people have covered these things already, but it's going to come down to how I do it, how I learn, and how it works for me. That I'll probably do my own little series on this because it's just a thing I'm interested in. And this also ties into the reason I started doing my modular journey in the first place. Is it wasn't really for you, it was really for me. It just happens to turn out that you like it too, so thank you for that. I'm going to do a quick recap of some stuff here, some highlights of my modular journey. So to start with, my day one journey started up here with the mutable instruments stuff. As you know, I started with mutable instruments plates and rings, added some other pieces around it. I also then got into ensemble and Quadigy, which is no longer here. As far as oscillators go, chainsaws came in first, and then these VCAs came in, and then later oscillators were like the spherical wavetable navigator, the Castor and Pollux, and the quad precision VCO, because I just wanted voices. I wanted a lot of voices in my choir. So that's how those came in. Over here are what I call the randoms and the utilities. So we have the MIDI to do MIDI integration if I want to. I haven't so far, but it's there. Random trigger gate. There's actually two of these. There's one here and there's one over here in the sequencer rack. Same with skipper. There's another skipper over here. One of my favorite tools of all is Modbox. Love Modbox. I use Modbox, I think, in almost everything. And then next to it is Ultra Random Analog. Both of these are discontinued, and I guess WMD is discontinued from what I understand. I love the crazy amount of modulation that comes out of Ultra Random Analog. That's really neat. I have 2 buffered mults because I found that 9 wasn't enough to split my signals. I have 3 Ornament and Crimes, 1, 2, 3 over here. I have my first attenuator because I wanted to know what attenuation and attenuverting actually did, so I got this module. Time Warp, which is super expensive for as small as it is, but I'm finding it actually does some pretty cool stuff. Again, rest in peace, WMD. And then there's the After Later Audio stuff, which really started blowing my doors off because, I mean, here we have Steps and Temps Util and Ornament and Crime and Allen and what else? There's other stuff all over the place. And then of course there's data. Who doesn't love data? I love seeing things. That's why this is here. For my filter section here is the Jura Analog Filter 8, the 2 Cinnamons, Popple, another After Later Audio, and then my Chaos Devices section. I absolutely love these devices. I do plan to get a lot more Chaos Devices stuff because it's just sexy, it's unique, it's very different in the way it does things. So love these things. So Chaos Devices, Belgrade, Zagreb, Talon, and Batumi. Then I have the Oct. I have only one Oct because right now that one seems to fit the bill, but I'll probably want more someday. As I mentioned, FX8 is here, and then I've got this mixer channel, like almost a channel strip down here on the side. which is 2 ST mixes and then an IntelliGel outs. And then of course the Bifaco, the new AC/DC out. So that's what this end cap here is. These bottom 2 rows are the System 100. This is the sequencer, the ring modulation, ring mod, dual VCO, VCF, VCA, dual envelope, and so forth, all the way down. And I doubled it up, so I have 4 voices here, 4 of each of these, just because, again, as I said in the video for this, it's Tim Shoebridge's fault. That's how he configured one, and it sounded fantastic, so I just copied him. 2 sequencers over here, a clock divider here, and a quantizer, a quad quantizer. Everything here in 4s. It works beautifully. Off to the right are effects. There's some effects down here. A disting, a Monsoon, which, as you know, Monsoon is probably my desert island module. Very recently, I got the Troutonium. Is that how you say that? Troutonium. It's a ribbon. And then I mentioned radio music. And then the Erica Synths DSP. Beautiful sounding effects. Mostly I use reverb. Sometimes I use a delay, but mostly that's the mode that's in. Disting is also in just a delay mode 90% of the time, 99% of the time. So I actually might get rid of disting. I don't use it. I don't use all the things that it does. And I might just replace it with another FX8 or something like that. So switching over to the sequencer rack, we have the original Pamela's New Workout clock. And as I mentioned, random trigger and skipper. I have the Allen with the more common Enigma up here. Newer one was the Temps Util Veroma Melodizer here. The third ornament in crime is over here, mostly for hemispheres. This is a hemispheres version, whereas the other ones are stock firmware. I have a Bitbox Mark II. So this is the big 16 pad one. This is going to be the new audio looper. The Make Noise Renee over here, which is a 3D Cartesian sequencer, and it's just phenomenal. I love using it. In fact, everything in this rack is some of my favorite stuff in my possession. NerdSec, the first sequencer I ever had, absolutely love it. Everything about it, its nostalgic vibe, everything down to its configurability, super, super deep, which is again, may possibly a candidate for my Getting Deep series. Then there's the Eloquencer, which is another fantastic sequencer. It's so easy to use, so easy to program. You're just typing buttons, or you can plug MIDI in and play stuff into it. Or play stuff out. It's kind of been amazing to use. Last but not least is of course Symphonian. It was one of the first big ticket items that came in right before NerdSec, and it is, again, it's a desert island module. It's not going anywhere. Absolutely love it. I'm casting shadows, sorry about that, but I wanted to show the last few pieces that did come in right at the tail end of my modular journey. I did get the Troutonium. Here's the ribbon. Here's the ribbon that goes with the module over there. The Strymon Big Sky came in earlier this year. I plan to use it mostly with the System 100 over there as an effects unit. And next up was the hologram Microcosm, because I've seen this in so many other demonstrations, and I just had to have it. I've already done 24 sonic experiments using Microcosm just because it is phenomenal, and only a few of the modes. It's just amazing. So I had to have it. I had to have it in the rack, and here it is. And lastly, the Noodler. I got a Noodler. I wanted this for so long, and it was just not available. And Conductive Labs don't seem to be making it anymore, or they're suffering the chip shortage nightmare everyone else is. And people on Reverb were selling these for $900. It's a $350 unit from Conductive Labs, and you see them on Reverb for $900. But finally one popped up at a reasonable amount, $450, $500, something like that. So I did pick it up because I didn't think I was going to get one otherwise, so I do have it. The Noodler, in case you don't know, is 4 channels of MIDI and 4 sections to play, pads, drones, and 2 different motifs, which could be things like arpeggiators or melodies. And you hit go, and this thing takes off while you can then jam with your Noodler. So the idea is to hook this up to not only modular things in the rack here, but also to the stuff in the studio over there, and noodle, because I love noodling. So that's it for episode 23 of my modular journey. And in fact, this is it for episode 23. It's it for season 2, and it's it for my modular journey. And coming up next, some music, some creative noise, some walkthroughs of various things that I'm discovering along the way. It might be a little bit slower pace, but hopefully all of you wonderful people who have joined me on this modular journey will stay with me once the music starts flowing. If you don't, then thank you for the time that you have been here and for making this journey as wonderful as it has been. Thank you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. We'll see you soon.